In the last video, we have seen how our Easy Bank application UI looks. On a high level, we understand what is the functional requirement of the application. For the application to work and to enhance it further, we have to think about its backend associated with the database. So as we have seen, there are particular pages which users should be able to navigate without any credentials associated to it, like contact us or notices page. So for the pages, we have to build associated backend services like slash contacts, slash notices, where they will accept requests from the UI and accordingly provide a response either from the database or taking the data from the UI and save to the database. And at the same time, we also saw a dashboard page where it has four sections of operations where an logged in user can perform, like he can check his account details, balance details, and loans and card details. For those four operations, we have to build associated REST services, and we have to make sure those services are protected so that someone from UI or any backend API can't call them without any proper authentication details provided. So these are the services that we are going to build in the backend. So let's go and first create a simple security project like we have created in the previous videos. Let's try to create one more time the same way so that you get to use how to create a simple security project, and later on we can add all these services to the same project. So now, like we discussed, we have to first create a simple Spring Boot based Spring security project. For that, we just have to go to start.spring.io, select all these values, project Maven based project, language Java, and Spring Boot, whatever version you feel comfortable. Next, followed by group, artifact. This time I just mentioned as Spring Security Section 2 as a project name, and followed by packaging should be Java version should be 8, and I will be adding dependencies starter project like Spring Security, and one more time that I need is Spring Web. So now I click generate, which will download skeleton project. Now I have to go to the download location and extract that archive. Post that, come to Eclipse and click on import projects. Select existing Maven projects, browse to the location where we have extracted that newly downloaded project, which is Spring Security Section 2. Clicking on Finish will create the project in your workspace, and since you have all those Maven dependencies, if you're doing this first time, it will download all the Maven dependencies. So this is how all the Maven dependencies downloaded, like all the tasks needed. Now going to the main class in security section 2 application, run as Java application. This is the first time that we're running inside the project. It's trying to take some time to build, and as you see, the project started successfully at the port 8080, and like we are discussing in the previous section, by default Spring Security provides you a password which is displayed in the console. We have the default security password that is provided by the Spring framework here in the console, but if you can recollect from the previous sections that we discussed, we can always change this default behavior of the Spring security by going to the application.properties and providing a couple of properties related to username and password, where you can define your own custom username and password. With this configuration, Spring Security will use these credentials to authenticate any request that is coming to the backend layer. The next thing that we have to do here is to build the REST controllers and REST services associated for all the services that we are going to call from the UI. If you can recall from the previous video, these are all the services that we are going to invoke from the UI to make this an application which will have a backend and database interaction. So now, to make it quick, I already created the controllers for all these services associated to them. Let me walk you through all those controllers quickly. So I already created a package called com.easybytes.controller. Inside that, I have created a controller for each and every service associated in the UI. For example, for notices, where we are trying to get the notices from the database from UI, we have a path called /notices and the method name and the associated method implementation. So here right now we always return the static response for all the controllers, but in future we're going to implement the actual business logic where where we interact with the database. So for now, this is how it looks for all the controllers. Similarly, if you go and see for the contact controller, so it will save contact and query details into the database. I know here we should not supposed to use get mapping because we are actually saving data into the database, but not reading the data from the database. So ideally in this scenario, we have to use post mapping, but for now, since the response is always static and we're not saving anything into database, I just keep it as get mapping. But in future, when we are doing actual database interaction, we can always change it to post mapping. Similarly, we have account controller where the path is my account and it will return the static response, followed by balance controller with the path my balance, and cards controller where we display the cards details using the path my cards, followed by loans controller with the path my loans with a static response. Now we have all the controllers defined in the backend, the paths that they're going to use and the response that they're going to give. So let's try and test in the next video all these services, what's happening with the default behavior. Thank you. See you in the next video. Bye.